Hi, everyone. Welcome to Double Shot of Steelers. He's Chris Halleck. I'm Dejan Kovacevic. We're from DK Pittsburgh Sports. We cover the football team. We also cover the hockey team. And just before this, we did a double shot of Penguins on a separate YouTube channel. And I invited everybody who was over there to come on over here and join us, but to also see how our expressions would change. See, because everybody over there is in a really good mood, and the topic is really upbeat, and the team is flying high, 4 in a row out west, and the future seems promising with some youth, and there's a real plan in place, and everyone's really happy with the head coach, and pretty much everything else related to the franchise. But I said, when you come over here, we're going to go from like this, and here we are, because it is an unhappy group over here. I'm not painting anybody, I don't think, unfairly. It's probably 95%. Would you guess, Chris, that's what's unhappy right now with this decision to hire Mike McCarthy? 95?
I think the initial number was about 95%. I think that's maybe gone down to about 85 to 90, but it's still the overwhelming majority. Yeah. Again, it's been a couple days, had some time to chew on it, had some time to go through it, still going through it. I'm still going through it. I'm now starting to kind of dive into the X's and O's, schematics, tendencies, all that kind of stuff. I understand people being upset about, it's a retread, it's a safe move, blah, 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 not going for it. But I think that the part for me that continues to probably be the issue probably the biggest issue I still have with it was only 3 candidates at the end of the day. You didn't cast a wider net. You didn't bring anybody else in for the in-person interview. And that's probably the answer I probably want more from Art and Omar on this one.
It's not just about the fact that they didn't wait on the 2 Rams guys.
It's just they didn't wait on anybody else.
They didn't wait on anybody.
Yeah.
They just said, you know what, we're done. And I don't know how many positions there are anywhere where you could feel comfortable about having an interview process that's like that. We are a flea on nothingness compared to them as a company, but we wouldn't do something like that. I mean, you got to talk to some people, and even if you just talk to them to learn something from them. Dan Rooney, the younger, the heir apparent, was in these rooms for these interviews. Yeah, I'd want him to get the full breadth of what's happening here. I'd want him to get as much experience and knowledge as possible. Guys coming from a high-tech program like the one that the Rams have, man, pick their brains. Find out what that doesn't mean finding out the deepest, darkest secrets of how Sean McVay does things. It's not what I'm talking about. It's what's their mind frame? How do they function? What are the ideas that we can bring to the Steelers? There's no curiosity. There's no curiosity.
Yeah, that again, and it's not like they didn't talk to them at all. They did at least have virtual interviews with them. But did the virtual interviews go that poorly? That's my question.
There's also the suspicion, and I think this is more just wishful thinking than anything else, but that the Rams 2 guys didn't want to have anything to do with the Steelers after the virtual interview. Come on. That they pulled out.
Yeah, I don't get I don't get that impression at all.
So there's not anything to substantiate anything like that. So this is where everybody is. I see different reactions even here today in our live chat, as it relates to, the different multiple stages of grief. But when I think of when I think of this hire, the main thing that comes to mind for me, Chris, the main term, if I had to come up with one word, and I know I've used uninspired and stuff like that here, but at this step of it, it's Monday. Okay. It's been a little bit of time since the whole thing came out. It's incomplete. It's incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much of what everybody's worried about, myself included, that can be addressed and addressed emphatically by the hiring of the right coordinators. The things that worry us the most about the Steelers, unless I'm speaking out of turn here, are that they're behind. They aren't sophisticated enough offensively. They can't scheme their receivers open. They don't have receivers.
That's the other part of it.
I just had to throw that in. It has nothing to do with the head coach. But maybe the head coach puts more of an emphasis on like knocking on Omar's door every single day. Where's my WR2? Hey, Omar, did you get to my WR2 yet? What about that WR2, Omar?
Oh, screw WR2 at this point. Screw a WR2 at this point. You got to get WR1.
Oh, don't do that.
But that's what you need to shoot for. Like,
oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. I thought you were just throwing Metcalf out to
no, I'm not throwing
okay.
but I'm not throwing Metcalf into the put. But if you can draft a guy who can be better than Metcalf, that's what I'm talking about. Like, if you get to the draft and there's a situation where like there are a couple guys that I don't like receivers that I don't think are leaving the top 10. But if you have a legitimate chance of getting one of those guys and it's an impact receiver that's going to change your offense, especially now that you brought in an offensive mind, like, I have to consider it. Like, it's not like that receiver can't work out. They traded up to get Santonio Holmes and he won a Super Bowl MVP. Like, you can go get one of those guys. And in this day and age, I like, for all the emphasis that there is on playing defense now and running the football again and all this stuff, you still you still have to have receivers. And it's not like you could talk about Seattle's defense and all. I'm sorry. One of the things that I took away from that game last night between the Rams and Seahawks more than anything was that JSN is a freak. That's what I took away. JSN
he's
play.
Been that all along.
I mean, but
he put on a clinic over here.
Yeah.
Early in the regular season in the home opener. He's special.
If you can get one of those receivers, I don't care if you got to trade it to go get them. Like, you're not going to get that quarterback in the first round this year. You're just not. So if you can get that receiver, I'm all right with that. Pair that with Metcalf. All right, that's a good place to start.
Will Brogan says, I've come around on this one point. Pool of offensive guys for head coach was pretty thin. To Kubiak's, Nate Shieldhouse, Udinsky. Rooney wanted one who has proven quarterback development, and that's McCarthy. Now, for your premise to take root, Will, it would mean that Rooney and Khan went into the search wanting an offensive guy. And I really don't know that would have been the case. I really don't. I think they ran into a guy who spoke their language. And I don't even just mean the Pittsburgh thing. No. I really don't.
Like, they weren't, it's not like, McCarthy walked in, he saw Omar's fly was down, so he said, hey, Kennywood's open, or anything along those lines. Like,
that's good.
It wasn't anything like that. I know what you're talking about.
Now, here's what I mean. Here's what I mean by spoke their language, because I've thought about this too, and I've yet to really spell it out. Let's say that there are virtual interviews, in particular with Shieldhouse, just because he's younger. Just ride with this, all right? There's a lot of lingo that comes up that doesn't sound very Steelers-like. And I'm talking about football lingo. I'm talking about stuff that you hear in the most intensive, die-hard X's and O's sessions about this and that and how we have this coordinator and that coordinator and we have a staff who answers to the passing game coordinator. And it doesn't sound familiar to either Art or Omar. And they're just sitting there going, the heck do I do with this? What do I do with this? This doesn't sound like us at all.
Mm-hmm.
So you go through a couple of those, and then comes Mike McCarthy. Hey, guys, what's up? Hey, what's up, Mike? Good to see you again. And it's all just kind of like, talking to somebody your age. It's just it has a different feel to it. It has a different vibe, and it becomes relatable. So when Art puts into his head that what he wants more than anything else is leadership, he says, well, I can at least understand what this guy's saying. He could be the leader of my team. Do you follow me? I'm really not dismissing this as a variable in all of this.
I wouldn't dismiss it. I do think I forgot how somebody the comment who the way that they put it, but I'll put it this way. I know for a fact, and we're talking on the record comments fact, that Omar Khan's top priority for the franchise is to find the next long-term quarterback. That has been atop his list.
Yeah, and so was WR2, and he really didn't do much of either in the past year, Chris.
WR2 was never talked about the way Omar talked about it, ever.
Okay, so what did he do toward quarterback?
He acquired a bunch of assets.
He got Will Howard. He signed Mason as a backup once he missed out on Justin Fields, and then Tomlin took over the process and brought in Aaron Rodgers. That's it. Right.
If the quarterback's not there to get, you can't just pluck him. You can't just say, hey, we're going to take Jackson Dart and hope he works out. They're not going to Kenny Pickett this thing. Like that I knew going into the draft. They're not Kenny Picketing this thing. When they take a quarterback in the first round, or the next time they take a quarterback in the first round, it's going to be a guy who they believe is the next Big Ben, the guy who's the next Terry Bradshaw, the guy who's the next quarterback to be the quarterback for a decade plus. Now, maybe they don't have to go that route. Maybe they can develop Will Howard. Maybe they can draft a guy in the second, third, fourth round this year and develop him. Or maybe none of that works. They try, none of that works, and they suck in 2026, and then that way they're in a good position to then draft in 2027 when the class, eventually at some point, the class is going to be good. It's not going to be bad every year. And in 2027, just because the names are going to eventually hit, it's going to be a good class. Could be 27, could be 28, whenever it happens. But the reason why I think this hire did happen is that McCarthy does have experience of working with quarterbacks, both of the veteran type, like he did with Joe Montana and Brett Favre, and of the younger type, like he did with Aaron Rodgers. So it's there, it's on his resume, and long-term quarterback is Omar's top. Now, that's Omar's look. I don't know about when you talk about Rooney, but I know with Omar, quarterback is up there.
Snowman comes in with a $5 contribution and says, I still don't like the hire, but I'm willing to see what happens and give him a chance. And what happens next are the coordinators. What happens next is up to McCarthy. Mm-hmm. He's the one that can listen. He's not going to he's not dumb, and he's not going to be unaware of what the reaction's been. In his hometown, he's going to know, and he's going to understand why. I don't think it's because people around here have no use for Mike McCarthy. Think about that for a second. That's one of the stranger aspects of this. I don't think it's because people look at Mike McCarthy and say, he's not a good coach. I don't hear anybody saying that. As disillusioned and disappointed as people are, I don't hear people saying McCarthy isn't a good coach. Mm. It's just that they had a concept in mind as to what was coming in, and this wasn't it. So what can McCarthy do about that? Not that he has to bend over to the public any more than anybody else does. But maybe he can understand why people are put off by this and think about whether or not it's legitimate. I happen to feel that it is legitimate. You want to make sure that Mr. 62-year-old guy is coming to the table every Sunday with fresh ideas, with things that are going to keep people off the Steelers wide receivers when they run their routes. I want somebody who's armed. He's going to be ready, but is he going to be armed? And a lot of that, so much of that. I'm not kicking the can down the road when I say this. I would have felt the same way regardless. your coordinators are so important in this sport. It cannot be overestimated. We don't necessarily talk about them Monday through Saturday. When do we talk about them? On Sunday. It's the only thing you're talking about on Sunday. So let's see how he does here, and let's see whether or not there's even a fraction of him that reacts to this.
So I just dropped this comment. You might be able to scroll through it. Some people are asking like what coordinators are there, and I actually wrote it for our site on DK Pittsburgh Sports, our app, to go through to actually start naming some names on who they could hire. You could go the young up and coming route on either side of the ball. There are some options there. You could go with a veteran type. I think on the defensive side, I'm more curious on who he hires on the defensive side more than the offensive side. Offensive side, I could see him hiring a younger guy who can learn, who can mold, or I could see him hiring a veteran guy who kind of knows how he ticks, because we know McCarthy's going to call the plays, at least unless he says otherwise in this press conference tomorrow. But the defensive coordinator, like, if McCarthy is going to say, hey, here you go, it's your side of the ball, I'm going to let you cook, then I'm okay. Who is it? Like, is it an Al Harris who played under him and who coached under him in Dallas? Like a younger guy who can, establish himself and establish a defense there? Or is it going to be like a Patrick Graham who, has got some skins on the wall? I don't know. Or is it Raheem Morris? I mean, we would talk about a coordinator that's got some skins on the wall. He's got some head coaching experience. He won a Super Bowl with the Rams in 2021. Like, there are a number of different ways he can go with this defensive coordinator hire, and I'm really curious to see that, probably more than offensive coordinator, because again, McCarthy's going to have a big hand in what happens on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and he should.
Yeah,
and he should. He should be functioning out there with a sense. Just as an example here, as you get near the end of the first half, things aren't happening for you. Do you wait till halftime to do something, or do you just speak into your headset? Hey, guys, got to start running the ball. Which is pretty much what a head coach does. They're not looking at their wristband and calling out the plays. Okay, with very, very few exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
What they're doing is they're saying, hey, I don't like where this is headed. I don't like where so-and-so individual guy is performing. Let's start moving in a different direction. I want the head coach to be aware of that from the offensive standpoint instead of thinking the game pure defense all the time. And I want the head coach to act on it, not when they get to the locker room, but beforehand. And I think there's a lot that the Steelers can benefit from having the offensive guy. That's why I was in favor of that. I saw something here a little bit ago about a 62-year-old. Why does it seem like everybody's saying that a 62-year-old, here it is right here from Leo, why is there an assumption that a 62-year-old will not have fresh ideas? I don't think that's it, Leo. I think, you can be lucid at a lot of different ages. I've known people, I could actually name some names, who are in their 90s who are unbelievably lucid, and I'm sure all of us do. So it's not as much about lucidity as it is about rigidity. And here's what I mean by that. Your box that you operate in, your brain, if you're a football brain, if you're a coach, just becomes more and more rigid as you get older, because you have experienced now this thing over here. This doesn't work. I've tried this how many times? It didn't work. It came back to bite me. If you think about the games yesterday and all of the abuse that Sean Payton's getting today over not kicking a field goal, everybody's all over this. Well, he's going to be more scarred by that than someone who's 35. He just is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just human nature. It's falling off a bike. Okay, if you fall off a bike when you're a kid, you just get up and keep pedaling. You fall off a bike when you're 62, you're down for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I fell on my snowboard today, and it did not feel the same as it did 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
So these I think it's more about that you want to make sure that you have people under you who are confident, who are vocal, and who are imaginative, and who can come to you and say, hey, coach, I got to tell you something. We really need to be trying this other thing over here. That's the environment that I want to see instilled in the Steelers, regardless of who the head coach is. Does that make sense, Chris?
Yeah.
To Jacoby Brissett. I love you, Patty. Patty comes in with a $5 contribution. Sorry, asking about Jacoby Brissett. No to Brissett.
Yeah. When you're talking about trying to develop the next quarterback, you've got to. No, I mean he's a nice quarterback. He'd be a good guy to have as your backup, but I'm not rolling with him as the guy who I think is going to win me a Super Bowl. But whenever I look at McCarthy and I look at the tendencies, some of the things that are happening in the game right now, what does he do? Well, he's a West Coast. He's a West Coast guy when it comes to offense. Okay, West Coast can function in today's day and age. That's great. But is he going to run a lot of 11 personnel? Because the league is trending toward a lot of larger personnel. A lot of 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends. I think the Steelers use a lot of 3 tight ends. Yeah, McVay used like more than double of the 3 tight end sets than the Steelers did. The league is leaning towards more man and gap schemes, a lot of duo. McCarthy ran a lot of inside zone in Dallas in the last 2 years that he was there when he was the play caller. When you look at pre-snap motion, where did the Cowboys rank when McCarthy was last the play caller? Bottom half of the league in pre-snap motion. And when you look at some of the top offenses, what do they have in common? They use a lot of pre-snap motion. So when you look at like some of that stuff, that's where I start to get like, I like the movement to the offensive side of the ball, but that's where my reservation is. How much is this offense going to change? And listen, you want to talk about pre-snap motion? You bring back Aaron Rodgers, that ain't going up. I'm telling you right now, you're not doing a whole bunch of pre-snap motion. I feel a lot better about McCarthy being able to adjust his offense to a 2026 mold if Aaron Rodgers is not the quarterback. If Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback you run, like that will literally be a running.
I don't even want to consider that right now. I honestly don't want to be that guy here that just shuts off to an idea. But right now, I would just rather leave that off the table, like not even think about it. This program is brought to you by our friends at the FanDuel Sportsbook, who now get to enjoy their busiest time of year. The FanDuel Sportsbook has been pushed into playoff mode. And to see what that means, you'd have to go check them out. The latest lines, futures, all that other stuff that they have, but nothing quite like what there is in the run-up to the Super Bowl. What is, Chris, the earliest, and I do mean earliest, line on Seattle versus New England?
Seattle is favored by 4.5 points over the Patriots.
And the game is in Santa Clara, California.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can say that means that the Seahawks will have a home field advantage. But it's funny. The city of Seattle has changed so much since the Steelers and Seahawks played in Detroit. I remember that at the time that everybody was like, no one in Seattle cares about football. No one really even cares about sports, whether it was the Seahawks or the Mariners or whoever. Meanwhile, in Pittsburgh, it was life or death, and they were going to pack Detroit. And that's exactly how it played out. There were like 8 Seahawks fans in the entire place. The rest of it was all either Steelers fans or Jerome Bettis' direct family. There it went, just like everyone had expected. Seattle has changed. The city has changed. That fan base has changed. They're now the fan base that everyone associates with the phrase 12th man. And I think that they're going to do a really, really good job of filling up Levi Stadium down there in Santa Clara. But I also think you're going to have your fair share of Bostoners make it out.
Oh, yeah. It's the Super Bowl. The Patriots are going for an NFL record 7 Super Bowls. And yeah, Seattle, listen, like when they made it to the Super Bowl against the Steelers, yeah, it was kind of like the 12th man was kind of a thing, and yeah, they had a really like a good fan base, but I don't feel like the like Seattle fan base really took off until the Legion of Boom. Like when that defense became a thing, and they were listen, that was the number one defense in the NFL for I think 3 straight years. They should have won against the Patriots in Super Bowl 49.
Yeah, what happened there? Why didn't they just hand the ball to Marshawn? Why, as the referee says.
But no, that defense was. I will actually make arguments that the Legion of Boom is like a top 3 defense of all time, and I'm not just talking about what they did in 2013 when they did win the Super Bowl. They are right up there with the Steel Curtain and with the 85 Bears to me. Like they were a phenomenal defense. And it has bred a large fan base in Seattle and very loyal, rabid fan base in Seattle. So yes, I expect a good showing of Seattle fans in the Super Bowl. But yeah, the Patriots fans are going to be there too.
Yeah, it's a different kind of place. But anyway, what was it again? 4.5?
4.5.
That's significant for a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
It also tells you that maybe, just maybe, the 2 best teams in the NFL played last night.
I think so too.
So do I.
I think so too. Rams. It was a heck of a football game.
It really was.
I really enjoyed that a lot.
It was such football eye candy.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything they did, even the runs that they ran were so sophisticated and so smart. It's like watching a different sport.
Yeah.
Compared to what the Steelers have generally done. Not that the Steelers haven't occasionally, like Steelers occasionally would run a play that was super smart and we'd call it out, say, hey, that's a really nicely drawn up play by Art, whatever. I don't mean that it never happened, but to see it so systematic and
listen, that Seattle defense, like, okay,
against good defenses too. I was
about to say, like, okay, the Seattle defense last night gave up 27 points. At what point did you watch that game and think, man, Seattle's defense sucks?
No,
never.
No,
that just goes to show how great of a game Sean McVay had, how great of a game Matthew Stafford had. Matthew Stafford was like MVP level Stafford last night. He's going to win MVP for a reason. He was playing at a great level last night. Made some great – when that one play was supposed to be a screen to the left side, it completely broke down.
And he know which one you're going to see. Shoveled it to Puka. And it was great because the observation there was that they run that play in practice 100 times and the ball never makes it to Puka. But it did, and everything was so smooth, and you could see the trust between the quarterback and the wide receiver on that. And it's just good football, man. It's beautiful football.
Yep.
I sure hope the Super Bowl matches it, but I don't know that it will. I thought that was really, really impressive. At any rate, go check out the FanDuel Sportsbook for everything that they're offering while they're in playoff mode. I can promise you'll appreciate it if that happens to be your game. 4.5 points. He's saying right now here, Blair is saying, Robert's saying, lay the points. I mean, that's a tough early spread for a Super Bowl.
Yeah. And listen, like, I understand, like, the elements definitely played a role in the AFC Championship game yesterday, but Mike Vrabel, I'm not going to say it like specifically on here, but the meme of the South Park character with the wheelbarrow, that was Mike Vrabel with his defense yesterday.
Oh, no. Who needs the help carrying them down the street because they are so big?
Yes. That was Mike Vrabel with his defense yesterday because they were literally willingly, purposely going 3 and out and saying, I'm giving you the ball back and I know you're not going to be able to get it, like, score on my defense. Like, with the weather and the fact that your backup quarterback isn't getting anything done. Dude, that was as much of a wheelbarrow moment as I've seen all season long. That was like, you're literally saying, like, with the football in your hands, with all you have to do is possess it, never give it back to them, and it's the game. You're like, no, here's the ball back. Doesn't matter. You're still not going to win. Like, that's ridiculous stuff.
Mike Vrabel has lots of different ways that he can win their way into Pittsburghers' hearts, not least of which is that he once was a Steeler. But the story and the meme that emerged yesterday about Vrabel and his conduct in Starbucks parking lots was one of my favorite things I've heard in the football world all year. For anybody who didn't hear it, Vrabel is that guy who, and you know those small Starbucks that have the reserved spots for handicapped whatever, right up against the front of the store.
Mm-hmm.
He is that guy who will stand there and watch you, either as a casual person without the handicap, the tag, or an obvious handicap for that matter, and those delivery guys who think that it's okay for them, the DoorDash guys. He will stand there and ask you, what do you think you're doing? Now, Vrabel, for anybody who's never been around him, is a big dude. And he's not going to be timid about that sort of thing. I am so totally into this type of behavior. That's me. Like, I do that kind of stuff. Like, you just turn around and say, what do you, unfortunately, says the boss. But it's the truth. It's so wrong. Those parking spots are there for a reason. And what are they going to say to him? Like Jackson says here, who's going to argue with Vrabel on this? Then he asks, as I knew somebody would sooner or later, because everything's about the Steelers. If we needed a coach a year ago and Vrabel was offered the Pats job and the Pittsburgh job, which would he take? He says, I'm still guessing the Pats. I am too. I mean, the guy, his formative years in Pittsburgh, but then he became a champion out there.
Yeah.
And a big, big part, by the way, of that New England defense. Mm-hmm. Without necessarily, and I'm being respectful here, all of the skill and speed and everything else of a lot of the guys around him. He was a glue guy. Yeah.
I mean, you had Teddy Bruschi and Richard Seymour and Rodney Harrison and Ty Law and all those guys. Yeah, no, he was still a really good player. One of the guys that you just love to have on a defense. That's like not like your top, like all pro level type player, but no, he was a good player. He was a really good player. And yeah, like he's gonna have favor toward the Patriots.
Jay says I have a handicap placard, meaning in the car, because I take care of my mom. I never use it unless she's in the car. There you go.
You won't have Vrabel yelling at you randomly.
You won't have Vrabel coming at you. Kyle comes in with a $5 contribution and says that Ben Roethlisberger says we are 3 to 5 years out from being relevant again in the playoffs. Are we really that far off? What needs to go right to make it happen sooner? Ben is entitled to his own view, as is anybody who does any kind of podcast anywhere. If you want to ask us what we're thinking, ask us what we're thinking. We'll be happy to answer it. I don't want to get into I never want to get into a back and forth with anybody else's thoughts in the media or former athletes or whatever here. My feeling on the 2026 Steelers, and boy, is this boring. I want to see coordinators.
Yeah.
And then I want to see a direction. Mm-hmm. And from there, I want to see a quarterback. And from there, I want to see the rest of the roster. If you want to get into this nebulous, how long do you think it'll take? Nobody knows that. That's the actual truth. Like I said, it's boring, but that's the actual truth. Let's see the coordinators. Okay? Simple as that.
My answer to that is very, very simple. It can be turned around like that. You get a quarterback, it can be turned around really quickly, especially if that quarterback is paired with a really good defense. You look at New England, what do they have? What did they get? They got Drake May. They got a really good defense, and they got themselves a coach who knows what he's doing.
You can say about in any sport, those things that they do at the beginning of the season. Here, this is the equivalent of season previews for the Pirates. Here's how they go. You say, okay, they have Paul Skeens, they have this and this. If this goes right, then that. If this goes right, then that. So if Brian Reynolds hits the way he once did, if O'Neal Cruz hits to his capability, and you have this whole long list of ifs. Well, what ends up happening to that list? Okay, not all of them hit, needless to say. However, then you have a season like the one that the Penguins are having, in which every single box has been checked. Like, you go right down the roster. Everything's been a hit. Mm-hmm. Individually, facet-wise, power play, penalty killing, goaltending, scoring, defending, everything. That's really unlikely. That's the reason that the Penguins are the story of the year, I think, in the NHL so far. You're not going to have that happen very often, but it can. It can. If you let's just say going into the 2026 season, McCarthy gets himself some good coordinators. They run Will Howard out there. I don't know why else Art Rooney would have brought up Howard pretty much unsolicited, as he did Sunday when talking about McCarthy. I don't know why else he would have done that, unless they have some kind of conversation about let's see what Will's got. At least through camp and preseason, whatever else. Let's give Will a real chance. You've got the running backs. You've got, I think, an offensive line.
Oh yeah,
you got the tight ends, and you got one wide receiver. You can make something out of that. Go get yourself a couple of wide receivers. Draft yourself some super stud in the first round.
Do it.
Okay, do that, and then check. Right. We're together on this one.
Oh gosh, get yourself a receiver in the first
wide
round.
Receiver, first round. So now I just checked all the positional boxes. Got yourself theoretically a sharp coordinator. You've got yourself an offensive-minded head coach. All right, defensive side. You've still got your dudes.
You got talent there.
You've got talent there. You have things that you need to square away. You have holes that you might need to refill. For example, if you cut Jalen Ramsey,
safety.
You have to get yourself a safety in some form. But safeties exist.
Yes, they do. And it's probably one of the easier positions to address.
I mean, they got Kyle Duggar at midseason.
Yeah.
Okay, you can get yourself a safety. You can do these things. Does it look like a decent football team? Sure.
This is still a team that won the division last year.
Can everything go right? Sure. We're watching that with the hockey team right now. Everything is going right.
Sometimes all it takes is, again, you get a good defensive coordinator to come in here, change things up, get guys playing to their strengths, not asking guys to do impossible things. And that defense, it's not like it's void of talent. If you can turn that defense into a top 10 unit, just by getting the right coordinator in there and addressing some holes, then all you're really missing at that point is getting the quarterback. All it has, again, you can get that in a year. You can get that this year if things go well with Will Howard or whoever you can draft, or maybe, just maybe, Mason Rudolph is the next guy. Nikki with another $100. Good Lord.
We interrupt our program now.
Jeez.
To head to Nikki headquarters where $100 has been dropped on this program.
That's not the first time she's done this.
Where's some of the applause over there?
Yeah.
She's looking for the applause button for Nikki.
Not a gong.
No gong. No gong's 99. That's how it's. Thank you, Nikki. Seriously, really appreciate that. We love that people love the shows that we offer. That's going to keep doing them. Going through some of these other contributions, Kyle with $5 here. Stan dropped $5 and say that the hiring looks like the teams that skirt around the Rooney Rule. There was some of that going on in this one too, and I'm not so sure that Rooney himself was an exception in that one, with the way that last interview was conducted and then followed like minutes later by the announcement that it was going to be Mike McCarthy. that's another topic for another day. Patty came in with $5. John came in as a new member. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. How to become one of those. Snowman with $5. Chris with $5. Jonah with $5. Look at all you $5 types. Sarah $5. Here's DW mixing it up with $2, and then Nikki says, "Come on." With that one right there. I'm going to tell you now about these memberships and how these work. We have 3 levels now. This is a new thing. You see that URL down there? That's the place to find it. Or just go to our channel page. DK Pittsburgh Sports Steelers. What is that thing called? A pipe, right? That's what I've heard. It's a pipe. DK so. Pittsburgh Sports Pipe Steelers. That's our channel. You'll see across the top a bunch of tabs. Find memberships. Go to that. And if you're already a member, like you've been one for a while, pan over to the right and you'll see a thing that says upgrade. That'll allow you to get one of the other 2. You're going to want one of the other 2 because that's where we're going to do our members only videos and things like that. We've had a bunch of people actually do this already in the last couple of days. If you're not a member at all, go to memberships and just, become a member, pick your level. There's a 99-cent. It's called basic. There's a $4.99. Excuse me. That's the black membership. And then there's the gold membership at $9.99 that has everything, including a once a month hangout with me and Chris on like the equivalent of a Zoom call where we just talk about stuff.
Doesn't have to even be Steelers stuff.
No, it can be Chris going on one of his Iron Maiden should be in the Rock Hall rants.
Hey, listen.
While I'm pushing for the Smiths.
Yeah, there you go. Two very valid arguments.
Yeah, Devo could be in there. I think Gary Newman's name never even gets mentioned. But that's just me. Yeah, we're starting to see. Yeah, here come members now. Kyle just became one. See how this works. Kyle just became one. Chris just became one. Yeah, this is how it's done. Really, really appreciate you guys building up this community like this. Patty just became one. Paul tells everybody this is what a pipe is. In case you don't know, it's actually a thing. It's like separating words. That's what it is that we used. I have no idea what this means. Jim says, I tried to become a member where you put your card number. It said scam. It's not a scam. It's YouTube, dude.
It's YouTube. It's YouTube.
Ramel wants to know if you can become a member through the app. Absolutely. Through the YouTube app?
It might be asking through our actual app.
No, they are wholly separate things. These are YouTube memberships. It's all they are. They are wholly separate things. I can't stress that strongly enough. We're not trying to trick anybody here. One is for one set of readers mostly, and the other one is for our videos.
Now, granted, all of our actual written content over on our app is available for free. Like you can get that. It's not like the link.
Yeah, let's save.
Yeah.
The confusion level is already probably pretty high here.
Yeah.
Think of YouTube as YouTube. Think of our site and our app as a separate entity because they are here. Carol, what you're referring to, a premium YouTube membership, that's not us. That's to YouTube. That's to make sure that you get rid of all your ads and stuff like that. That's a YouTube thing. That's not us.
All of YouTube. All
that's what you're talking about, Carol, is for something that covers all of YouTube. We're going to take a couple more today here. Jorby says that at least Crosby and Malkin are old dudes that are actually fun to watch in Pittsburgh. Cam Hayward was fun to watch in Pittsburgh.
Sure was.
Yeah, I will not tolerate anything less than respect for what Cam just did this past season. He was an all-pro in his mid-30s at a position that does not naturally lend itself to that. He performed at a very high level, not for his age, but just at a very high level. Which, by the way, is what Sid and Gino are doing right now.
Yeah.
Gino are point-a-game guys running one of the best power plays in the NHL. That's good stuff.
No age qualifiers here. They're just really good players. I take exception to calling them old guys. I am 5 days older than Sidney Crosby, okay? Am I old?
Well, if you are, I don't know what that makes him.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Mike McCarthy's older than me. Michael wants us to share our screen to walk us through the. Dude, I don't even know how to do that.
Maybe we can do that. Well, no, that would be in members only.
I'll make a tutorial and.
Oh,
she's gonna. Yeah, did you hear that? Boss is gonna make a tutorial that's gonna walk. You know, one of those like that's done by somebody in Bangladesh. Those little. I'm not gonna do the fake Bangladeshi accent, but you know the YouTube videos that I'm talking about that teach you how to do everything.
But literally, if you just go to that link.
I have nowhere near the guts to do my fake Bangladeshi accent.
Please do it.
No. You know, somebody somewhere is going to take offense to it. They just will.
My wife was actually impressed with my Peter Griffin last night. I was talking like Peter Griffin from Family Guy, but I'm like too nervous. I don't even want to do it now.
It was pretty good, actually. Any names here for coordinators, Chris? Let's do that real quick before we sign off.
Raheem Morris is an interesting one to me. If I'm
defense, of course.
Yeah. If I'm a betting man, I'm gonna bet either Al Harris or Patrick Graham for defensive coordinator. Al Harris played under McCarthy as a corner. He coached under McCarthy in Dallas. He is now currently defensive backs coach and defensive pass game coordinator under Ben Johnson with the Bears. And then Patrick Graham, he's been around for a while. He was under McCarthy in 2018. He has done a lot of different things with a lot of different defenses. And the thing I like about Patrick Graham is he is pretty versatile. He's not going to come in and conform the players to his scheme. He's going to conform his scheme to the players. So I think that'd be kind of interesting. On the offensive side, one guy who I don't think is going to get talked about enough, who I think is kind of interesting, is Scott Tolzien. A lot of people will just think of him as just the quarterback, but he was under McCarthy all 5 years in Dallas. He's still young. He's in his 30s.
That's interesting.
And he, when McCarthy left Dallas, he went to the Saints and became the Saints quarterbacks coach, who just oversaw Tyler Shuck having a pretty good rookie year at quarterback. So if I'm looking at a younger guy that he could possibly bring in to groom, Tolzien's a interesting guy. He was on my list, but yeah, if you want to go over to our app, I think I listed 5 potential candidates on each side. So yeah, there are some guys there, but there are a few names to throw out at you.
Scott Tolzien. Boy, there's a name, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, the boss has something here with no microphone.
You just go to DKPS.
You have to be a lot louder without a microphone.
No, you can tell them. If you go to this link,
yeah. Go to dkps.net/join, and you're going to see what you need to see there.
Right, on the screen.
You'll either hit join or
you gotta pick the level.
But you have to pick your level. dkps.net/ oh, look at her. She put it up on the screen.
Yeah. I'm pointing at it.
DKPS, Chris is pointing at it. If you can't find it on the screen, Chris is pointing to it. It's helpful. The bobbleheads are even pointing. Look at them. They're all turning to look toward it.
As you scroll through the levels, it will tell you what you get.
They're all looking at the screen share. Look at them. I could do a Myron. Yoy and double yoy. Look over there. Take your membership now. Cleve Brownies. Come on, that wasn't that good. I don't have the best Myron. All right, so become a member of YouTube, by the way. And for anybody who's asking, as it relates to our website, where they have nothing, there's no commonality there. They are separate things. If you like what you see of our videos, there's only one way for us to offer memberships, and that's through YouTube. If you love our app, the news that's offered, the writing that's on there, the community, the commenting and everything, that's over there. There's no this between the two. Just being completely honest and upfront here.
Astro Mikey wants to know if the member count number goal is to get the boss a mic.
Yeah, that's the one here. The PEF points out correctly that was way more Gilbert Gottfried.
It was more Gilbert Gottfried.
I just had to do this, Dad, Chris.
You sound like you should be on Jafar's shoulder.
Oh,
For
no.
you Aladdin lovers out there know what I'm talking about.
The worst impression. All right, guys, listen, we love you. We love having you here. We love what's being built here. We really appreciate everybody who supports us. And no, by the way, this program, for this very reason, is not going anywhere. We're going to be here for you every day in the off season as well. Joseph says, DK, you sound like Myron Cope. Now, this is somebody who just comes in and thinks that I'm doing a Gilbert Gottfried impression.
Oh, that's so good. Jonathan called you Iago Kovacevic.
I see it there. That's good. Barry Yeager has gotten a Kickstarter started for the Dolly microphone.
There we go.
We want to start saving up for that. The community is going to stuff one in her face. She now has her face in her hands over there.
It's going to happen. Embrace the dark side.
This is going to be the dark side to this conversation. Tommy, see, the nice thing is that this show ended up, hopefully, at least with some smiles. Guys, there's a long way to go here. Okay, I'm not sitting here playing, what is it, Homer or anything. I didn't like this hire. I was disappointed. I was down. I don't think it's going to be good for our business. I think there's less excitement about the team, if you want to get right down to it. But he's not done. They're not done. There's a long, 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 long way to go. And let's see how it plays out. Let's see who these coordinators are. Let's see what McCarthy brings in, what the plan is, who the quarterback is. Long, long way to go. It is the 26th of January.
My sister-in-law's birthday. Yeah. Just crazy. Yeah, we have a long way to go. We still have free agency to get through. Shoot, man, we got the combine to get through first. We have free agency. We've got the draft. Who knows what this roster is going to... we might get on the other side of the draft, and Steeler Nation might not be able to contain itself with the excitement if the roster looks great.
Carol cracks me wide open here. She says, to me, you didn't like Aaron Rodgers until he got here, so we'll see what happens. That's right. Just keep... it's football. It's cool. Let's see how it goes. Now, not everything is meant to win that moment. If it were the case, the Browns would win the Super Bowl every March. Guys, we will hook up again tomorrow. Thanks so much for being here.